What's happening, Cucumber Squad, and welcome back to the Fable Sphere. Now, take a guess who just dropped a brand new track, man. Alter Bridge, man. Alter Bridge. We haven't reacted to Alter Bridge for a while. I know there's been a lot of people that have been complaining about that, saying, oh, well, you don't like Alter Bridge anymore. No, it's not about that, right? Is that there's literally 1,000 things that I need to react to. I've got a list that is completely endless, right? That I need to react to. But this is brand new. This is like a couple of hours old. I think this is about like 15 hours old, completely brand new. And as you know, I absolutely love Alter Bridge. This is called Pawns and Kings, which already sounds interesting. So yeah, man, let's rock and roll, man. Let's get straight into it. Alter Bridge back on the Fable Sphere. Let's go.
Tear down the walls and show your courage as you heed the call. Embarking on the journey yet to come. There is no time to waste, the wretched and the heartless. Take your future if you let, there will be
Yeah, you know where this is going. You know where this is going, man. You know where this is going. Stand up and hold your ground. Don't let the bastards hold you down. Have you noticed? Are you taking into consideration lately how many artists are coming out with politically driven songs? Not the political artists that usually dabble in the political stuff. I'm talking about other artists that are not doing political stuff. I've been noticing a lot of political messaging at the moment in different artists' music because of the time that we are currently in, because of what's actually happening and how governments are failing people at a radical rate. What we see today, what you see today, the world in the state that is in today is only thanks to the people in charge. It's only thanks to the people in government. Their own interests, right, has driven us to the point that we're at today. Okay? Let's carry on.
Hold your ground, don't let the bastards grind you down. It's time to show the devil what we are.
Hey!
Surrender nevermore, though deep inside we're battle worn. We'll never let them tear this land apart. No, for all of the hope that it brings, and the weapons we could be kings.
Come on, bro. Fuck you, bro. What is going on here, bro? That is what a power message over there. Although we pawns, we could be kings. We decide this. We decide who the kings are. And then they play us like pawns. I love the fact that he's playing this into a chess game. I love the fact that he's playing this into like a societal game, like strategy game, which that is basically what politics is, right? I've always said politics is downstream of culture and culture is downstream of politics. It's all the same thing. What the political class is doing at the moment, what the kings are doing at the moment, is they're using the different pawns, right, to fight a culture war because they don't want you to fight a class war. Because if you fight a class war, the only people you can point at is at the fucking elites. Come on, man. Victory is gained for love, a worthy sacrifice of flesh and blood. What a beautiful line, man. What a beautiful line. This might be my favorite of Alter Bridge. Now, that's saying a lot, man, because Alter Bridge has got some absolute burners. But they come back like this, though. Come on, bro. Come on. This hook is so good, man. This hook is so much fire, though. Oh my god. This is such a powerful... And can you hear the chaoticness of the instrumentation? Right? Which is a representation of the time and how the chaos. Right? This is why the instrumentation is so chaotic. Right? So powerful, so uplifting. So almost gladiator-like. Come on, man. For all of the hope that it brings, and the weird bonds we could be kings. Whoa! If we believe against our lives, we will survive. The last shall be first. If we believe against all odds that we will survive, belief is a big part of this, because what's actually happened, we've developed a society that is submissive. We submit to everything. Our beliefs, what we stood for, right? The things that we hold on the pedestal, the soapbox that we stand on, are the very things that we are discarding. And there's something important to think about that. In terms of, are you saving yourself by abandoning your beliefs to not be taken out now? So why people abandon their beliefs and they go with the untruth and they go with the ideologies that are not rooted in reality and truth is basically to save themselves now, but it won't save them later. You're actually contributing to the death of yourself, the death of your soul at the end of the day. So by trying to save yourself and not speaking out for the greater good will eventually become the greater bad that takes you out. You're not saving yourself, right? And this is the thing about society at the moment, is we affirm everything that is given to us because we're too scared to speak up anymore. In the Western world, just to think about it, in the Western world, we're too scared to actually speak up about our beliefs, about our values. Because if we do, our lives, the very carpet that we stand on, that we've built everything on, can get sort of like whooped from beneath our feet. And we might have nothing, although we never ever have nothing. Because if you lose this and you lose this, you have nothing. But because we're such a consumer-driven society where everything that we have that is monetary and has, is a hard possession is more valuable than truth and logic and than reality, we then twist reality. We twist the fabric of reality by saying we're not going to stand up for the things that are right. And we are going to denounce the things that are wrong. And every time we do that, reality is axiomatic. You can't change that. Reality, you're just going to twist and bend and twist and bend and twist and bend. And even though it's malleable, it may be malleable in your head, but it's finite and it's definite in how it operates in the natural order. And eventually reality just snaps back. It might not snap back today. It might not snap back tomorrow. It might not snap back next week. It might be 5 years from now. But eventually reality snaps back. And then we find ourselves having to scramble and sort of looking back as, wait a second, what happened? Why are we in this position? Well, where and when did you twist the fabric of reality? interesting thing to think about. And that comes from Mr. JP. Let's carry on.
The life shall be first. Give it time. If in the end we're still alive,
Hey.
our victory will prove in time that we were right along. We must stand up for all that we are.
Hey. No. Hey! Oh! Great on the graphics. I know this is just a lyric video, but I love the fact that he's played obviously the chessboard, because the whole thing is referencing the strategy of chess and obviously the political system, but then also now showing the snakes in our camps at the moment that we don't actually realize. You know, we tend to think that we're fighting all of these, you know, outside forces. Like, now that's the priority. The Western world's priority is to fight these outside forces. You're never going to defeat the outside forces if your house is divided against itself. We are divided against ourselves. We hate ourselves. We hate our neighbor. How are we ever going to take on the outside forces? If we stand united within our house and nothing can fold that house, no outside force can take a free man. No outside force who shackles their people is ever going to take on a free man. But when the free man is eroding at themselves, destroying them, the proverbial toppling of the Roman Empire in 2022, outside forces can just walk straight over us. Anyway, let's carry on. Hey! I love it. The destruction of the queens and the destruction of the kings by the pawns, right? And the one good thing about pawns and kings is that kings are always outnumbered by pawns. It's just how many pawns stand up together at the same time. Hey! This track is so much fun. Whoa! Is this a new album? Is this a new album that's coming out? Is this a sort of trailer track to, or a new album that's coming out called Pawns and Kings? Done. I've got it. It's mine, and we're doing an album review to that. Let's go. Wow. The meek shall sing this song tonight as though it's an anthem, right? This is our anthem. This is what we will march to. Come on.
We could be kings. The meek shall sing this song tonight. For all of the hope that it brings, and the weapons, we could be kings if we believe against our odds. We will survive. I shall be first. Give it time.
The last shall be first, give it time. Exactly. But people need to be aware. I don't know if some people may have read this book. It's, George Orwell, 1984, absolute classic. But there's a very important line in that book that I've said a few times that is just so important, right? One thing politicians understand is a population needs to be conscious in order to rebel, right? But in order to rebel, they must be conscious. But in order to be conscious, they must rebel. And politicians cling on to that because they understand that if we keep giving them the carrot and the stick, right? And we don't give them too much. They never want to give society too much, because if you give society everything that they want, what's going to happen is society, and say you give them education, you give them schooling for their kids, you give them correct education, you give them housing, you give them jobs, you give them everything, right? Eventually society will get to a point where it'd be like, why do we need the powers that preside over us? We don't need them, right? We're educated. We know what we want. We don't what we don't want. So they will actually, they will cycle through government like underwear. So they don't want to put you in that position. Now, they also don't want to put you in a position where they don't give you enough. They just want to throw enough seeds that it keeps you on the spectrum of struggle, but you're desperate enough to maybe have something to say about it that won't really be heard, but not desperate enough to go out to the streets and topple the government, right? And that usually comes with food security. So food security is one of the most important things. You can take a lot away from a human being, but you cannot take away their food security. The moment you take away their ability to feed their children, that is when society becomes a different beast. So what they do is they just give you the very minimal. And they say, okay, well, here's a couple of seeds for you to feed on. You can live in your misery. You can live in your strife. In order for the rich to be rich, the poor need to be poor. The middle class understand that they need to eventually cycle through the rich. They need to take the rich out. Not because it's a moral or a value thing. It's because the middle class want to be the rich. So what does the middle class do? The middle class uses the poor to mobilize against the powers that be to take them out. So once you take them out, the middle class then becomes the upper class, right? And the cycle continues. They forget about the poor once again, right? So they completely just want to consistently cycle. The poor are used as pawns so that the middle class that lie just beneath the upper class, right, can actually take out the upper class, and then they themselves become the upper class and then do the exact same things that they did to the pawns, right? Now, this is why the culture wars that we see today is so important for these politicians. Because while you're distracted fighting with each other culturally, right, disputing values that you once were fundamental to you, to everyone, that you shared, right? So they strip that away, they strip your identity away, and then they say fight because you people are completely diametrically opposed in your values and beliefs, which you're not. They make you believe that you are. When they do that, when you're distracted, you're not fighting a class war. You're not looking up and saying, wait a second. It's not my neighbor that's the problem. It's the elites that speak only for the elites That's the problem. The elites that have lost touch with the middle class, the elites that have lost touch with the working class and are only pandering and touting to the very privileged in our society. That's the whole idea. Become conscious to rebel. But in order to rebel, in order to become conscious, you must rebel. You get to decide which one comes first.
We're still alive. Our victory will justify that we are right where we belong.
Right.
Pawns and kings, let sovereign wings give strength where there is none. Pawns and kings, the meek shall sing
Unreal.
until God's will is done.
Pawns and kings, the meek will sing until God's will is done. Best track to date by Alterbridge. Best track to date by Alterbridge. I apologize, it's a bit of a long reaction. My reaction seems to be very long these days. I really do need to reel that in. Best track. Absolutely came back with an absolute banger. This must be one of my favorite rock tracks of this year, if not of all time. Of all time. Wow. Let me know what you think down below. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.